Right?
Most welcome, sir. Most welcome, sir.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Erard, how are things in Germany as of now?
Germany, since yesterday, we have a lockdown light. That means all the restaurants are closed, the hotels are closed, right? Then the theaters and everything is closed. The only thing is the shops remain open, right?
Okay.
And you should not have too many contacts. And in the company now here, we are running around with masks, right? And but I think the numbers what we have is still the best in Europe.
Yeah, the best control has been in Germany. Sir.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the measures what they take maybe is hard for some people, but I think this is justified and it is good. And the bicycle business is running like hell. This I tell you, because we have now on the end of October we had the same turnover as last year, the whole year.
Okay, good. That's great, sir.
Because everybody is running to buy, especially e-bikes, but also bicycles, because they are afraid of going with public transport.
Yes.
Right? So they use the bike, and they understood that the bike is a very good medium.
Yeah. Finally, they have understood, sir. Earlier, they were not understanding that. Sir.
Right? And it should be also. I hope it should also be to a certain extent. I think also in India is going up the demand for the bicycles, as I understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. India is also going after bicycles now. And in fact, there is a waiting for bicycles. You can buy a car off the shelf, but for a bicycle, you have to wait for 15-20 days.
Yes, the same in Germany. If you want to have a nice e-bike, right? You 20 days, but you wait sometimes 2 to 3 months. Right?
Yeah.
But I think Onkar Singh ji, as far as I recall, this is the first time in the history that you have to wait for a bicycle in India, at least.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First time, sir. In my lifetime, it's the first time.
Yeah, this is also the same story for me. I think still remember the times when the people asked me, when I told them I'm in the bicycle business, right? Then they asked me, and you can survive. Right now, it's the opposite. The people who are making cars or car parts, the car parts business. Then when I meet them, then I ask them, "You can survive?" Right?
Very good.
Times have really changed.
Yeah, time has really changed, sir.
Yeah. But this is also good. This is also good for the environment because less pollution. I think, and this is also very good for the congestion in the cities.
Yeah, true. So, Dr. Thakur, welcome. Thakurji, can you hear me? Good afternoon, Mr. Sebi Bedi.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chatwal. Hello.
Good afternoon, President, sir.
Good afternoon. Namaskar to everybody.
I want to introduce Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, the President of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sir, we have Mr. Onkar Singh Pawaji, the President of the All India Cycle Manufacturers Association and also the CMD of A1 Cycles.
Welcome, sir. Welcome,
Namaskar.
Pawaji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We also have Mr. Erard Buchel, the President of the World Bicycle Industry Association from Germany.
Excellent. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Mr. Bushel.
Oh, welcome to you.
We also have Mr. Savi Bedi, who is the founder of Cycle of Inspiration.
Great. I think what Mr. Bedi is doing is something remarkable, and we fully support in every way your endeavor, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
That is the one, Mr. President, sir, the Mr. Bedi which you are referring is Mr. H.S. Bedi is joining.
Oh, okay. But in any case, then the other Bedi must also be doing something very good.
He is doing excellent work otherwise as well. So we have Dr. K.B. Thakur as well, sir, the Secretary General of the All India Cycle Manufacturer Association. Welcome, Dr. Thakur.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good afternoon to all.
Sir, welcome, sir, welcome.
Sir, we also have Mr. Avnish Gulati, the Director of the Contartica Marketing Services Private Limited.
Great.
Good
Welcome,
evening.
sir.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
So now we are waiting for a couple of our more panelists in this. And President, sir, we are also going live with the YouTube in this. So you can see that already 314 people are watching this.
Excellent.
Apart from the people who are there with us in this WebEx.
Excellent. And I am seeing a new format which looks very good. So I hope we are starting on time, right?
Naveenji, Mr. Omkar from CFI, he's taking a bit of time. He's having some technical issue. You just have to give about 5 minutes. Max.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Paramjit, Mr. H.S. Bedi is there in the attendee. Please convert him into panelist. Mr. H.S. Bedi, I request if you can switch on your camera, sir. Yeah, welcome, Mr. Bedi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Welcome, Ms. Akshima Gate.
Thanks. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I just want to introduce Ms. Akshima Gate is the principal for the Rocky Mountain Institute in Delhi. And Mr. H.S. Bedi is the director and owner for PS Bedi Group.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So, Naveen, we start in about 5 minutes.
Yes, sir, because we are just waiting for Omkar Singh ji from Cycling Federation and Mr.
Excellent.
Partha Chaudhary from Hero Electro and Ms. Firoja, the Smart Commute Foundation Bicycle Mayor from Mumbai.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
Welcome, Omkar Singh ji.
Sir,
Omkar Singh ji, welcome.
नहीं मिनिस्टर नहीं है सर, उसमें से निकाल दीजिए सर. ओके.
Omkar Singh ji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, welcome, sir. So,
Thank you so much.
Omkar Singh ji is the chairman for the Cycling Federation of India.
Sir, I have just spoken to Ms. Firoza. She is joining in a moment. In fact, she initially thought that she has to join at 4 o'clock, so she is just joining in.
Thank you. So, President sir, can we start, sir?
We'll do that.
Mr. Seth, we must start.
Hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can start it.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of PhD CCI, Progress Harmony Development Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and All India Cycle Manufacturers Association, and Cycling Federation of India and Contatica, I welcome you to this first virtual global cycling conclave, which we are doing in the present scenario. So I just wanted to introduce the panelists which we have today with us. We have Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, who is the president of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and he is also the chairman and CEO of Paramount Communications Limited. We have Mr. Onkar Singh Pahwa, the president, All India Cycle Manufacturers Association, and CMD of A1 Cycles. We have Mr. Erhard Buchel, the president, World Bicycle Industry Association, Germany. We have Mr. Onkar Singh, the chairman, Cycling Federation of India. We have Dr. K.B. Thakur, Secretary General, All India Cycle Manufacturers Association. We also have Ms. Akshima Ghate, the principal, Rocky Mountain Institute, New Delhi. We have Mr. Avnish Gulati, the director, Contatica Marketing Services Private Limited. We have Mr. Sari Bedi, the founder for Cycle of Inspiration. And we have Mr. H.S. Bedi, the director and owner of P.S. Bedi Group. So we are awaiting two more panelists, Ms. Firoja Suresh, the Smart Commute Foundation Bicycle Mayor from Mumbai, and Mr. Partha Chaudhary, President and CEO, Hero Electro, who will be joining us in another 10 to 15 minutes. So now I request Shri Sanjay Agarwal, the President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to kindly give his presidential address.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's really a matter of huge pleasure for me to welcome you all. Mr. Onkar Singh Pahwa, the President of All India Cycle Manufacturers Association. Mr. Erhard Buchel, President of World Bicycle Industry Association, Germany. Mr. Onkar Singh, Chairman, Cycling Federation of India. Dr. K.B. Thakur, All India Cycle Manufacturers Association. Ms. Akshima Ghate, Principal, Rocky Mountain Institute, Delhi. Mr. Avnish Gulati, Contatica Marketing Services. Mr. Sari Bedi, Founder, Cycle of Inspiration. Mr. H.S. Bedi, owner of P.S. Bedi Group. Managing Committee members of PhD CCI. Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, our Secretary General of PhD CCI, and Mr. Naveen Seth, Principal Director, PhD CCI, members of the Chamber, and ladies and gentlemen, it's really a privilege for me to welcome you all to this virtual conclave on global cycling. I think it's this is a concept for which the time has come, rather than from a poor man's commute to a sport and an environmentally conscious person's commute. I think is a distance that has been traveled across the world, but especially in India over the past few years. So, but before we go ahead further, I would like to just give you a brief introduction about PSDCCI. The PSDCCI stands for Progress, Harmony, Development, Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have been working for the promotion of Indian industry, trade and entrepreneurship as a catalyst for the past 116 years, and we are a forward-looking, proactive and dynamic pan-India apex organization. PSDCCI is holding video conferences, BSMs and B2B meetings on a regular basis, bringing stakeholders, foreign missions and Indian missions together to address our industry members on a regular basis. I would like to welcome you all for the inaugural virtual edition of the Global Cycling Conclave 2020. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to our webinar partner, the All India Cycle Manufacturers Association, AICMA, and the Cycling Federation of India, CFI, as also Contractica, for extending their support in organizing an interactive session on the much talked about subject in the current market scenario. Due to the pandemic, overall industry has taken a big hit, but at the same time, future seems to be very promising. A bicycle is a common mode of transport for people in the rural areas, particularly within the low-income societies, but is continuously gaining traction in the urban areas as well, among the successful and affluent people. The Indian bicycle market comprises many roadsters, fancy, and those designed for kids and other specialized vehicles. Other bicycles also include those meant for different purposes like mountain bikes, sports bikes, hybrid bikes, touring bikes, etc. In India, cycling has grown not just in terms of people who have taken it up, but also has grown as an industry too. The Indian cycle industry is the second largest in the world. It is worth mentioning that 22 million units are made in the country every year, and the annual turnover is to be 7,000 crores, around $1 billion. According to the industry numbers, 22 million cycles were sold in 2018-19, and 18 million cycles were sold in 1920. As per the recent reports, it is interesting to know that from zero production in April this year due to the lockdown, India's bicycle industry, of which Ludhiana is the major hub, has reached 4.5 lakh units in May as the government started easing the lockdown restrictions. As India entered Unlock 1.0 in June, manufacturing got another push, reaching 8 lakh units in June, almost doubling since May. With a single shift, 40 to 60% workforce, the bicycle industry is fighting back to make up for the losses it incurred during the lockdown. While the number of people taking up cycling as an activity is increasing, the trend of people going to work on cycles has not really kicked off in the urban India as yet. It may be noted that the number of employees who ride bicycles to work in India are much lower in comparison to European countries. I think one major reason for that is the lack of space or safe cycling space on the roads. I think this is something that we as a nation need to do a lot of work on to ensure that there are safe bicycle lanes for the cyclists. Cycling for a short distance alone can, I am told, give an annual benefit of rupees 1.8 trillion to the Indian economy, as per the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs advisory of 10 July. So since more and more people are taking up cycling as an activity, many have requested the government to make arrangements to make it safer to commute by cycles in India, especially in the urban scenario where safety is definitely a large concern, big concern. Before I conclude, my thanks to all of us for joining us today, and I wish all the participants fruitful and meaningful interactions today and tomorrow. Thank you and stay safe, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, President Sir, for sharing your views and also setting the agenda for today's webinar. So now to take this further, I would like to invite Shri Onkar Singh Pahwaji, the President of All India Cycle Manufacturers Association and CMD of A1 Cycles. So friends, just to give you a brief about Mr. Pahwa, Mr. Pahwa is elected as the President of All India Cycle Manufacturers Association, an apex body of Indian bicycle sector. Mr. Pahwa is also the CMD of A1 Cycles. He is associated with bicycle manufacturing since 1947 and held various roles and responsibilities within the company and in the association. Mr. Pahawa is considered as a father figure of bicycle business, as also well known for his outstanding social and charitable contributions. Mr. Pahawa is working hard in resolving the issues of Indian bicycle sector with the support of national and international organizations so that it becomes Atmanirbhar in the capacity, capability and contributions. So I present to you Mr. Onkar Singh Pahawa.
President, World Bicycle Industry Association, Mr. Arhel Bushel, Cycling Federation of India, Chairman Shri Omkar Singh, President of PHDC, Shri Sanjay Agarwal, Mrs. Akshima Ghate, Principal, Rocky Mountain Institute, Delhi, Ms. Firoza Suresh, Smart Commute Foundation, Bicycle Mayor, Mumbai, Mr. Partha Chaudhary, President and CEO of Hero Electro, Mr. Avnesh Gulati, Director, Contractera Marketing Services Private Limited, Mr. Savi Bedi, Founder, Cycles of Inspiration, Mr. H.S. Bedi, Director, PS Bedi Group. A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. The easily affordable bicycle is a simple, reliable and environment-friendly transport, which makes no noise, no congestion, and needs no fuel. Out of nowhere, it can get you almost anywhere. Next to walking, it is the most economical and the most sustainable mobility option. In several million households of our country, a bicycle acts and serves like a family member. Many breadwinners pedal to work and for neighborhood trips. A bicycle is the most sought after mode of transport. The children love to cycle than to walk. As a tool for economic development, it silently provides access to livelihood, education, healthcare, and sports, and keeps them on the move. According to the TERI report of 2019, cycling for short distances could result in an annual benefit of rupees 1.8 trillion. This would be as much as 1.6% of India's annual GDP. In the present corona times, traveling in public transport or cars is a matter of concern, but bicycle helps to fight the pandemic by ensuring physical distancing and boosting immunity. In a sense, bicycle is our friend for all seasons and reasons. Globally speaking, cycling delivers on 11 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Nearer home, the bicycle may not have done well. Despite all the nobility of its character, India has a bicycle ownership of 90 per 1,000 persons. It compares very poor with 1,100 of the Netherlands and 370 of China. It suggests a huge potential for cycling penetration in India. Our industry size is the second largest in the world. We produce some 22 million bicycles annually with a turnover of rupees 7,000 crores. About 4,000 MSME employs close to 1 million people in the value chain. We have a bicycle user of about 110 million. The turnaround of the sector is primarily dependent on faster generation of demand. This can be made possible by removing policy gaps related to affordability and safety. The sector is world-class in steel bicycle making. This apart, it has capacity, capability, and capital to cater ever-increasing demand of premium and e-bicycles in domestic and export market. There is the need to harness the tremendous untapped potential. The sector needs to update and transform to become Atmanirbhar. With a vision of 50 million units, export of 4 million, and additional job of 1 lakh by the year 2025. We must prepare ourselves for the major challenges of competition from the number one, China, in terms of technology levels, scale, and valuation. To realize self-sufficiency goals, we may need to focus our attention on global companies of Taiwan, Japan, the EU, and the USA. I take this opportunity to thank Government of India for its proactive support as Niti Aayog report on bicycles, establishing Bicycle Development Council, issuing advisory to states for the creation of necessary cycling infrastructure. We also grateful to Honorable Supreme Court for pro-cycling direction issued last week, which has been quite encouraging. Further, a five-fold strategy has been formulated to be persuaded through Bicycle Development Council. The cornerstones are empowering the needy poor class with bicycles, creation of urban safe cycling infrastructure, redressing bottlenecks of existing value chain, setting up of premium and e-bicycles hub, undertaking pro-cycling campaign by the concerned ministries to develop cycling culture. With these few words, I appeal to all to support the bicycle cause. I also sincerely appreciate the efforts made by the PHDCC for their great efforts in making this event a success. I thank all the participants for patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your views and addressing the audience today. And we look forward to work very closely with AICMA for the benefit of the cycle industry in the country, sir. Thank you very much once again. So now I request Mr. Erhard Buchel, the President, World Bicycle Industry Association, Germany, to share his views. So friends, just to give a very brief about Mr. Erhard, the World Bicycle Industry Association is a non-profit association which represents the bicycle, e-bike and bicycle parts and accessories industry at global level. It was founded at the end of the December 2017 in Hargiswil, Switzerland by the Bicycle Association Japan, the Bicycle Product Supplier Association based in the US, BPSA, the Confederation of the European Bicycle Industry, and the Taiwan Bicycle Association. The main purpose is to join forces and to actively participate in the technical meetings at the United Nations facility in Geneva. Here, the different working parties of the World Forum for the Harmonization of Vehicle Regulations, WP29, discuss various global technical matters that are relevant for the bicycle industry. So I present to you Mr. Erhard Buchel.
Everybody, it's a great honor that you invited me in order to tell you, to share with you some views about the bicycle in the Western world, especially in the EU. Let's talk about me first. I'm the president of WBIA. I'm also the president of Conclave, the European Bicycle Association. But as my main profession, I'm the CEO of Büchel Industries in Germany, and we are producing bicycle components. And I'm very proud to say that my father founded this company in 1920. So this year is our 100th anniversary. Now, let's come just to explain what Conclave and WBIA is doing. Conclave is a European Bicycle Association catering for bicycle, e-bike parts and accessories. Through its national associations, Conclave represents more than 500 companies in Europe and holds the presidency of the World Bicycle Industry Association, WBIA. I have been invited today to present the current situation, the changes, and the new characteristics of the European market. Here we are. More than 2,300 kilometers of cycling infrastructures have been announced in Europe since the beginning of the pandemic, and over 1 billion euro has already been spent on cycling by local authorities at national level. New cycling lanes, but also incentive schemes to purchase bicycles and e-bikes as well as lower speed limits in inner cities have proved to be an effective mix of factors that politics has used to provide an alternative, feasible solution to public transport. Together with the increasing number of initiatives in Europe to support cycling, consumer behavior is also part of the ongoing revolution. The attention on health definitely means distancing to avoid crowded transportation, but also a stronger focus on active mobility, with a higher convergence between physical activity and commuting in comparison with the past. A recent study supported by the World Economic Forum highlights a remarkable growing usage of bicycles and e-bikes by mid-century.
Mr. Erard, sorry for interrupting. Your voice is not that clear. I would request if you can be more nearer to your mic, sir.
Okay, so is now better?
Yeah, it is better then.
Okay, good. A recent study supported by the World Economic Forum highlights a remarkable growing usage of bicycles and e-bikes by mid-century. You can see the slide now. I think you must look for the slide number 7. Right. In Europe, we are trying to fight the air pollution. At European level, road transport is responsible for 70% of all transport emissions. That is why the European Commission has announced a strategy to sustainable and smart mobility called European Green Deal. And they have issued and they have founded a 20 billion euro fund for urban mobility in Europe. In the meantime, sales are booming in Europe. Bicycle sales, which were slightly decreasing before the COVID-19 outbreak, are now on the rise again. And the e-bike phenomenon sees a double-digit growth on a yearly basis that is very likely to continue in the next years. In 2019, the total joint sales of bicycle and e-bikes remained similar to the previous year, amounting to around 20 million units sold, while the overall sales value continued to increase. This was mainly due to the e-bike sold, which grew by 23% from 2018 to 2019, surpassing the mark of 3 million units sold annually for the first time and representing 17% of the total bicycle sales. Estimates show that e-city and e-mountain bikes accounted for around 70% of the e-bike market. And if you can see in Germany, for example, and also in the Netherlands, now more than 1/3 of the market, of the total bicycle market, is conquered by the e-bikes, which improving numbers. And we see that in Northern and Middle Europe, we should surpass in 4 or 5 years the mark of 50% of the bicycle sales. Moreover, when a specific trend is appearing, the automotive is always ready to jump on it. That is why, and this is not surprising, also the automotive has started to invest in the e-bike market. Name it BMW, name it Audi, name it FCA, Mercedes, and even Lamborghini and Ferrari have started their own e-bike strategy. The future is on 2 wheels, and the future is electrified. With regard to the first half of 2020, the demand in Europe has increased over 50% in comparison with the first half of 2019. Conclave collects every year the European figures about sales and production of bicycles, e-bikes, parts and accessories, but we also do market forecasts regularly. As Conclave, we have forecasted more than 7.5 million e-bikes and 15 million normal bikes sold in 2025. From a total market of 20 million units sold, we could go to one of 22.5 to 23 million in 2025. The e-bike market is booming and we continue with this. But there must be 3 points met. The first one is that the current favorable regulations for pedelecs up to 25 kilometers, that means we don't have any type approval, we have no mandatory motorcycle helmet, we have no driving license, and we have free circulation as a bicycle. This must remain in place. And secondly, the positive momentum for cycling in the EU continues as a response to COVID-19, and more cycling infrastructures are built to give space and safety to the growing number of people riding a bike. And last but not least, the intelligent transport systems are developed within the right EU legislative and technical framework in order for cars and buses to detect bicycles and thus making cycling much safer. Koneby is working very hard to support companies that sell their products in Europe so they can do it in a prosperous market. The impact of European legislation on our industry should not be underestimated. One of the biggest risks we have is that the European Union is currently considering whether e-bikes should be classified as motorcycles. It would mean for the user, for the cyclist, it would mean that mandatory motorcycle helmet and insurance, as well as driving license, and no more free circulation on cycle paths. And for the industry, higher costs for the homologation procedures, less model flexibility, and a dramatic end of the e-bike market. So we call on you to support Koneby. We have to fight against proliferation of tampering, kits available online, and software modification of speed assistance, because this is a big problem. What the EU sees, we're selling pedelecs with 25 kilometers, and then the users try everything to make them faster, and sometimes you can see e-bikes not only with a speed of 40 kilometers, but up to 80 kilometers, which is very dangerous. And with regard to the Koneby data about the European market, if you want to receive the 2020 report with 2019 figures, please contact Manuel Marsilio and Annalena Scherer at the emails that you can see displayed here. As president of WBIA and Koneby, I welcome the good relationship with EICMA, and I take this opportunity to thank the Indian PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the invitation to such an interesting online event. The remarkable growth of consumers' demand in Europe is an opportunity for both European and Indian companies. For the benefit of everybody, we have to work in synergy. In this picture, the focus on product quality, shorter lead times, and a responsible supply chain are of utmost importance. The European context requires such kind of attention. I can tell you also from my experience, it is not the problem of the price, right? But it is a problem of the quality. If you produce quality, right, you will be successful in the European market. Price does not matter so much. You have to supply quality, and you have to supply your goods in time. Sometimes I have the experience that goods are coming from India and take 2 or 3 times longer than coming from China. So China is actually much further than India. I think, therefore, we must find together a way in order to shorten the lead times and in order to make the deliveries more clear for the supply chain. This is, to a certain extent, the key for success. When we take China as a possible reference of an important partner in the global supply chain in 2016, for example, the total value of components for bicycles, e-bikes imported from China into the EU was approximately 1 billion euro. And this increased to around 1.5 billion euro in 2019. And our forecast for 2020 is 1.8 to 2 billion euro by the end of the year. Things have to improve, and from the European side, we are asking our Chinese counterparts to pay high attention to product quality, shorter lead times, and the responsible supply chain. This is the same which counts maybe even more for the Indian partners, because the European market is changing and cooperation must be well structured with all the most relevant world players, including Indian companies. And the deliveries and the quality must be predictable. Right? So cooperation is not just a matter of industrial processes and trade. We need a strong international advocacy and economy, together with the very valuable knowledge of EICMA and the other industry associations from all over the world, including the United States, Japan, Taiwan, Russia, and Mexico, are working very hard to secure the best global policies with regard to cycling promotion, as well as the best global regulations about intelligent transport systems and e-bikes. I take this opportunity to thank you all for your attention and invite you to the WBIA WFSGI online event, which will take place on December 2 and whose title will be Worldwide Bike Supply Webinar. We have now, on a very short time, made the invitation for this webinar, but because at the moment we are facing in Europe, to a certain extent, big shortages about the supply from China and also from big companies, which at the moment do not, to a certain extent, do not believe that the bike boom will be continuing. And with this webinar, we would like to convince people like Shimano, like SRAM, or like other big players, right, that they should invest more because the bike boom is here not because of the COVID, but the bike boom is here because the world is changing, right? When it comes to the world, consumers are we in front of a bubble which is going to burst, or of a global structural change which will last for a long time? This is a question what we like to answer in this webinar. Do not hesitate to contact me in case you have any questions. I wish you all health in this difficult pandemic all over the world. And let me say one thing. Cycling is healthy. Cycling is fun. Cycling is cool. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your views and giving us the global scenario on the cycling industry. And we look forward to meet you in person soon, sir. We are waiting for the opportunity once we can meet on that. And we request if you can share more details about the webinar which you mentioned on 2nd of December, so that we can circulate amongst our industry members here and they can be part of that webinar. So
Yeah,
once again, thank you.
Okay, this would be very nice. I will ask Manuel Marsilio, right, to get into contact with Mr. Thakur, right, and then we should send invitations to all interested people, and the more will attend this webinar, the better it is for the whole bicycle industry.
Sure, sir. So thank you very much once again. So now to proceed further, I invite Shri Onkar Singh Ji, the chairman of the Cycling Federation of India. Friends, the Cycling Federation of India is a pioneer in the promotion of cycling sports in India, affiliated to the Indian Olympic Association and international bodies like Asian Cycling Federation and Union Cyclist International. And I am very happy to inform you that recently PhD CCI has also signed an MOU with Cycling Federation of India for working together for the benefit of the cycle industry. So I invite Mr. Omkar Singh ji to share his views.
Good afternoon, everybody. My special thanks to Punjab Haryana Delhi Chamber of Commerce and Industries for making us a part of this conclave. I think it's the first ever.
Omkar ji, sorry for interrupting. Just wanted to update that PhD is not Punjab Haryana Delhi, sir. It is Progress Harmony Development Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Sorry for that. Sorry. So, thank you for making us a part of this conclave. I think this is the first ever time that cycling, a sport, has been made part to this kind of conclave where normally you share your marketing plans and you share your other aspects of business. This entirely different aspect of cycling. I know I've been associated with Untitled Chapter for a very long time, and we've been working together at few events across the country. But what we want to share today is how cycling as a sport can help us in promoting the supporting arena of the country. Because this is one sport which has been neglected for very long time by all the stakeholders in the country, because cycling was nowhere in the medal tally of any of the important sports events. We started our journey somewhere in 1930 or somewhere, when first president was Mr. Janki Das, who was a very famous actor from Bollywood. So he was the first president of Cycling Federation of India in, I think it was somewhere in 1930. Now journey starts after that, after independence, first Asian Games held in New Delhi, and that was the time when cycling was a part of that event. And cycling secured few medals because there were 3 to 4 countries who participated in the cycling event, and we had 3 to 4 medals in that event. But since then, for the last now maybe so many years, India has never got a medal at any major events in the world of cycling sport. Neither at the Asian Games, nor at the Commonwealth Games, nor at the Olympics. The last time the Indian team participated in the Olympics was 1964, when and that was the last time we participated in one of the Olympics. And after that, at that time it was all open to all sports. Now it has started. After that, the qualifying system started, and we could not qualify in any of those events. After 2010, the Commonwealth Games in New Delhi, the scenario of cycling has changed a bit, because we had first-class infrastructure in New Delhi as IG cycling velodrome, which is a wooden velodrome, and the first, almost the first or second in the country, but very few in the Asian countries at that time. Since then, we took over this reins of the Cycling Federation of India by 2012. And we started a new aspect onto cycling, competitive cycling. It's an entirely different story of cycling. Since then, where we were at that time, we were ranked 190 out of 195 countries who are part of the UCI. We were ranked somewhere around 150. So low at that time, and we took over and we pledged that we are going to take this sport to the next level, and India will become a force in another 10 to 12 years, because there's no shortcut in cycling. You have to be very consistent in progress. So after that, we started a journey with the academy starting in New Delhi, where we took over, where we started at the grassroots level. We picked up cyclists at the age of 14 to 16 and then put them into sustained training and structured training. And mind you, today, in 2019, what we are visualizing that by 2024, we'll be on the podium at the Olympics, and to 2028, of course. And to 2022 Asian Games, we will definitely finish on the podium. Now, what we visualized was 2019 World Junior Championship, we will fare well. But our planning, our system was so perfect that our first ever medal in the World Junior Championship came in 2018 at Eagle, Switzerland. And our boy, Mr. Esso, he had the first silver medal in the World Junior Cycling Championship. After that, we continued 2019. We had a gold medal, a silver medal, and a bronze medal at the World Championship, where we stunned the whole world, and we beat Germany at their home soil, and we stunned the whole world that India can be to that place. After that, 2020 was a very bad year for us, but before that, in 2018 and 19 Asian Games, Asian Cycling Championship Juniors, we fared very well. Sorry, there are 4 sprinting events in the Asian Junior Championship, and we won all the 4 sprinting events in the Asian Championship, and that's a record in itself, first ever done by any country at the Asian level. We won all the 4 gold medals in the sprinting events. So that's the progress which made in those few years, and now today at the Olympic scene, we have 8 sprinting events, out of which we are number 1 in 6 out of them. So that's the journey where we reached today. Now, I would like to share a small video of our first ever medal at the World Junior World Cycling Championship at Eagle, Switzerland.
Paramjit, please give the sharing rights to Mr. Onkar Singh, please. Sir, you can share now.
Aforementioned Indian representative Esso, Czech Republic, is the last man in the line behind the dirty bike. Look at 30 kilometers per hour now. So there we go. And we still have the women's TP2 final yet to come. So this the penultimate final of the day for the bronze, silver, and gold medal finals of the women's suit. Still Stashny on the wheel of doing it, so India in second spot. Complete 1 lap to go. Czech Republic is now chased by India. Are India on the way to their first world medal in the gearing? SO of India is coming off the final banking here. The Czech Republic is going to be excellent place on the line. It's a silver medal for India and SO, but the gold will go to Jakub Stashny of the Czech Republic. Wow, what a great final that was. What a great ride from SO of India. He is absolutely delighted with that as well he might be. I told you they were on the upward spiral, and that is a silver medal for India and SO, but the gold for Jakub Stashny of the Czech Republic. Here's a rerun of that final lap. Here comes SO around the outside. He's not quite got the pace to get over the Czech rider here as he comes to the line. They both throw the bikes to his advantage for Czech Republic. And SO, well, he tried his absolute hardest and a very credible ride indeed to deliver that silver medal. Lunch for the line, he wasn't far away, it was half a wheel with the final analysis and a very close score between France and Kazakhstan. We'll wait for confirmation of that one. And it was in fact Chugai of Kazakhstan who got
Gentlemen, this was a small video which I presented to you, and the second one, from the 2019 World Junior Cycling Championship, where we received our first ever gold medal in the team sprint event, and we beat Germany in the finals. So this was the journey where now and today's scene is that now since they were all graduating to seniors and we are looking forward for 2022 Asian Games to get a medal there. And mind you, the government of India now has put cycling into the priority sport. Out of 6 priority sports, cycling is one of them, and they're still for 24 and 28 Olympics. It all has been possible. You know, we already thought that we had talent in India, but there was a huge gap between the sources as well as the talent. We had talent, but we had no resources. Mind you, cycling is one of the most expensive sport in the country, anywhere. A cycle costs you around from 2 lakhs to 10 lakhs. A wheel will cost you 1,20,000 to 2 lakhs, and so on and so forth. It's a very expensive game, and mind you, even in India, the sports are mainly being exercised by middle class or lower middle class people, except leaving aside tennis, cricket, or one of those games. So we had impressed on the government to put this gap, to help us into to cap on this gap. They've been helping us now quite a bit, and that's how we've been doing good. Now we are moving on up to 22 Asian Games and 24 Olympics, and we are really grateful in this period. The only support we had was from Honda Scooters and Motorcycles Private Limited. They've been our CSR partners, and that's how we've been able to achieve so much of result in these few years. I'm grateful to them also. But now, where we go next from here? It's cycling as a sport is a very expensive sport, and I'm grateful to this forum that we've been able to put forth our endeavor to bring India medals, because this is an entirely different scene from what you normally visualize. You expect marketing, you expect manufacturing, you expect all these things, but cycling as a sport, this becomes our national, what I should say as national duty also for all of us to promote sports. Sports through sports, fitness is there, and cycling especially is environment friendly, saving fuel. We put a tagline as save fuel. So sorry, we put a tag on that: burn fuel, not fat. Sorry, burn fat, not fuel. So if you burn fat by cycling, I think this is the most healthy sport if you see from that angle. So with all this, I'm grateful to each one of you for giving me a patient hearing, and PhD CCI for giving us such a wonderful opportunity to share our views on the competitive cycling. And in the period of pandemic, cycling has grown like anything. We go around the places right in the morning and we see a lot many people cycling across. And recently, we had been to Leh and finished yesterday only. We finished an event in Leh, and at the temperature of -15 and -6 degrees, we were able to finish a race there with 100 cyclists from across the country. And mind you, Malay is such place where every alternate shop is a cycling shop. So many people using bicycles there because of the environment and all those things. So my endeavor to all of you, all the partners, please see cycling as not only as an industry, but as a fitness proposition, and as a poor man's, of course, we call it a poor man's transport, but today it is becoming a cycling culture across the country, which gives us a very good feeling that once the culture of cycling grows, the competitive cycling will automatically grow. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Onkar Singh, for sharing your views. And we look forward to work closely with CFI, AICMA for creating an effective awareness about the cycle industry and cycling in India, sir. Thank you very much once again. Now I invite Dr. K.B. Thakur, the Secretary General of All India Cycle Manufacturers Association, who is not only the sponsor for this today's webinar, and he is the one who has been actively guiding us, advising us to develop this program, and we are really grateful to Thakurji for his guidance and support we are getting from him. So friends, Dr. K.B. Thakur is the Secretary General of All India Cycle Manufacturers Association since 2015. Prior to that, he served Government of India for almost 3 decades in various capacities, including as Director Industry, Director AICTE, and as OSD to Vice President of India. He holds many degrees and fellowship, including PhD on Energy and Environment from BITS Pilani. He has been instrumental in changing the face of AICMA and significantly contributed in the promotion of cycle cause in India. Dr. K.B. Thakur, please.
Good evening to all. Am I laudable? Am I laudable?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes,
audible.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and my slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Seth, for your brief introduction. Before I start, so I am taking the note that, we are running by around 10 minutes plus. So I will be as briefest as possible so that we can finish the whole thing on, the time. Cycling has come a long way while quietly rumbling across villages and cities. From being a common man's mode of transport to leisure hobby for people across the world, cycling continues to leave a trail of experiences. However, over the time, a series of myths related to the soft and hard factors of cycling has been circling around and impacting growth and development of the cycling. ACMA, as a responsible stakeholder, thought it appropriate to clarify major myths wise realities. I will be covering 10 such myths vis-a-vis realities in my brief presentation. The first myth is bicycle are peripheral part of urban mobility policy. In reality, incredible inherent and utility benefits of bicycles make it the most sustainable and indispensable mode of transportation. Therefore, bicycles occupy a central and not peripheral place in sustainable urban mobility policy, including in National Urban Transport Policy of Government of India of 2014. The second myth is bicycles do not contribute to national economy. A bicycle per household increases monthly income by 30%. Millions of such households constitute a parallel silent economy. Over and above this, all indirect benefits constitute reduced budgetary supports of health department, congestion related department, and so on. TERI study estimated rupees 1.8 trillion annual benefits to the economy, that is equivalent to 1.6% of the GDP. So the direct and indirect benefit, they contribute significantly and significantly to the national economy. Copenhagen study suggests cost benefit per kilometer of car and bicycle. It is very interesting to note. Car costs 0.015 euro, but cycle earns 0.016 euro. So you may see the difference, cost benefit to the society. It is the car who costs, and the bicycle it earns. This is very important to note from the national economy point of view. So in reality, bicycle contributes to economy through social, environmental, economic sectors significantly on long-term basis at individual, society, and national level. The third myth is poor man's transport. Bicycle is poor man's transport. In reality, bicycles are extensively used by poor and rich people of urban and rural areas in developing and developed countries. The fourth myth is cycling is gender and age specific. Over 55% of adults age 55 and older see bicycling as a convenient way to get around, and 45% said they want to bike more often. This is the recent survey done in United States. In reality, cycling is done by women, senior citizens, or disabled, apart from men and youths, and hence cycling is not gender or age specific. The fifth myth is cycling is not safe. Cyclist fatality rate in Denmark is just 12 when cycle use is 936 kilometer per person, whereas in UK it is 29 when cycle use is 75 kilometer per person. Cyclist safety perception is determined by traffic speed, critical mass of bicycles, share of fatalities in total, quality of infrastructure, and so on. In reality, cycling is inherently safe. I repeat, cycling is inherently safe. The sixth myth is cyclists are one of the major causes of accidents. In actual, the share of cyclists as a cause of accident in India is merely 1.7 in 2018. This is the data of Ministry of Road Transport, Government of India. It confirms cyclists are a minor cause, not a major cause for accidents in India. The seventh myth is road infrastructure is inclusive and equitable for cycling needs. Ideally, segregate facilities for cycling on arterial road with 50 kilometer speed and limit the speed on other roads to 30 kilometers and in special zones to 15 kilometers. This is what is needed ideally. Conventionally, most of the roads, this is the bottleneck or the constraint we have in India. My very valuable esteemed friend, Madam Akshima, she is the very knowledgeable person. She is going to speak more on this. Conventionally, most of the roads are designed for motorized vehicles and not for cyclists, and hence not inclusive and equitable. The eighth myth is cycling infrastructure is expensive. Per kilometer cycle track costs just 1.3 million euro and the road costs 50 million euros. 3-meter lane can move around 100 people in car and 6,500 people by bicycle per hour. Benefit versus investment on cycling infrastructure has got the ratio of 5:1. And hence comparatively cycling infrastructure is not expensive. The ninth myth is cyclists are nuisance on road in cities and towns. Road users mix vis-a-vis speed is pre-decided at design and traffic policy levels. In reality, it is he who violates respective rules creates nuisance, not the cyclist. The 10th myth is cycling is difficult in expensive climatic condition. In reality, neither extreme heat like in India, nor extreme cold or rains or windy conditions like in European countries is a constraint for cycling. In fact, cyclists in these conditions get accustomed and adjust accordingly. I hope these realities would help to erase the myths and make all bicycle stakeholders more well informed and wiser. Thank you so much. Thank you to all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thakur, for sharing such basic information, which is very much required actually for the knowledge of all the people. We once again thank you for your time and sharing your views. Now I would like to invite Ms. Akshima Ghate, the principal, Rocky Mountain Institute, Delhi. She will be mainly talking about the safe cycling infrastructure in India, thinking innovatively and proactively. Ms. Akshima Ghate, she is the Delhi-based principal in Rocky Mountain Institute India program, where she leads research, analysis, and partner engagement. She provides leadership to RMIs on ongoing initiatives with the government agencies at national and sub-national level, which aim to transform mobility trajectory of Indian cities to a shared, clean, and people-centric path. So, Ms. Akshima Ghate.
So, first of all, I would like to thank all the organizers for inviting me.
I request all other panelists to kindly mute their button, please.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me. It's a great opportunity, and I would like to congratulate you for organizing the Global Cycling Conclave. There couldn't have been a better timing. I think all of us are realizing, and recognizing the way cycling is picking up in our cities, even though it is largely for, fitness and recreational purpose. I think it's a great sign that as a society, we are kind of picking up our cycles and coming on roads. So just, as the moderator mentioned, I'll be focusing largely on infrastructure. In fact, the panelists before me have largely highlighted the key trends related to cycling in India, both from an industry and demand perspective. And, if I was to just summarize these trends, till COVID happened, we were largely talking about, and what we were witnessing were declining trends, and that was something that was not like, wasn't desirable. Whether it is cycle ownership, whether it is share of cycling and cycling use in our cities and rural areas, we've seen ownership of cycles declining over the last 2 decades. Mostly in all our big cities, the share of cycling has been declining. Like in Delhi, it has declined by almost 30 to 35% over the last 5 decades. And while this has been happening, we all are aware, we've been witnessing a very rapid growth of nearly 10% growth in two-wheelers, cars every year on year, while the growth in cycle ownership has been to the range of 2 to 3%. So I would say that till COVID, the trends that we have seen were those of declining trends, something that all of us as a community working in this area have been wanting to arrest and in fact reverse. What COVID for sure, as most of you have talked, it's definitely given a fresh lease of life to cycling, with the growing interest in cycling by citizens who largely have got used to their cars and two-wheelers. Because as a country and in our cities, it's really the choice cyclists, people who have a choice of using cycling, that share has been declining, and it's very critical for India, like in some of the Western nations, to actually attract these users, choice cyclists, to cycling on a daily basis. One of the other panelists mentioned earlier, it's really the commuting to work by cycle is something that we need to focus upon, and attract a lot of users who are using personal vehicles and other motorized modes to using cycles for commuting to work. What we've definitely seen with COVID and unprecedented demand, and therefore cycle sales have been very high. And there have been several reasons for that. Of course, people have been wanting to fight the lockdown effect, staying at home, trying to get exercise. They do not want to use public transportation because of safety reasons. But to my mind, one of the critical reasons has also been, and which is linked to the point on safe cycling infrastructure, is that there have been initially very less motor vehicles on our roads. There has been very less traffic, which has been, I feel, very critical in making and perceiving roads as being much safer. I think that's very critical, that when we are perceiving that where there is less traffic and roads seem to be more safer, it has definitely played a big role in encouraging cyclists to take up cycling again. And to me, this is very important, and something that a lot of us who are especially involved in policy making or designing and executing infrastructure, who should take note of this, that infrastructure is very, very critical as far as promoting cycling is concerned. If we are really serious about promoting cycling, we will have to pay attention to cycling infrastructure. And the momentum that we have gained from COVID, if we have to sustain this, we will have to turn our attention towards creating safe cycling infrastructure. Before joining RMI, I used to work at TERI. Again, it's a think tank. And I was leading a study which was in fact supported by EICMA. And we had ran a big survey on choice and captive cyclists in 6 cities in India. And what we had definitely found is that the potential choice cyclists, people who would like to cycle, they're not choosing to cycle essentially due to lack of infrastructure for cycling, because they fear the risk of meeting road accidents. Also, when we asked people that, what would make them cycle, providing infrastructure for cycling was definitely emerging as a prerequisite for attracting, potential choice cyclists to start cycling. And even for people who are cycling currently, and many of them, because of the perception of safety and the risk of meeting an accident, leave to cycle as soon as their incomes level increase and they can afford other modes of transportation. Even to retain those cyclists, it's what has emerged very clearly is that it's so important to create cycling infrastructure that gives a sense of security and that makes them choose really cycling as a mode of transportation. Despite its role in ensuring safe cycling conditions, what we have also seen is that dedicated infrastructure for cycling is really not being provided in Indian cities. We just, heard about how Europe has announced and already implemented huge investments into public charging, public cycling infrastructure. That's something there, while there is some infrastructure projects and things are starting to happen, there is a long way for us to go to make our cities, make our roads more cycle friendly. But just to highlight, this is not happening because the fact that we do not have cycling infrastructure in our cities is not due to the fact that there is lack of provision of cycling infrastructure in the norms and standards, as Dr. Thakur was pointing out earlier before me. It's really not that the standards for road design and construction do not include cycling infrastructure. It's really about them being adequately implemented. So all codes, if you pick up, whether it's the Indian Roads Congress Code or the UDPFI guidelines for, city development, the new Urban Roads Code that was, prepared by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, all of them recommend and a lot of times even mandate provision of cycling tracks on especially the major roads. But despite this, what we find is that most Indian cities, we do not have, designed or constructed cycle tracks, despite very, very high traffic levels on most of our main roads, which are also, being used by cyclists. So in, totality, the right attention largely has been towards, motorized vehicle users. And having said that, we've seen a lot of initiatives by some cities like Pune, Chandigarh, Delhi, and a few more cities where there has been attention towards creating a network of cycle tracks. But there are challenges of encroachments of these cycle tracks. They are being used as parking lots by motor vehicles. A lot of times motorcycles, scooters will start using these cycle tracks. There would be poor maintenance of of these tracks. There will be challenges with regard to not these tracks not being citywide network or poorly designed or poor security levels. So while there have been efforts, then there are challenges of the operational and the maintenance side. And there are no, in general, again, I'm citing what I just heard, 2 billion euros for cycling infrastructure. We haven't seen any such dedicated investments being proposed for cycle tracks. Either in the city budgets or the state government budgets or even the central level investments. Recently, there have been some initiatives by Ministry of Housing and Affairs, like, there's a cycling city challenge and all. I think there has to be far more effort in terms of even setting up dedicated investments and budget for creating cycling infrastructure and encouraging cities to take up and utilize that budget for creating a safe cycling infrastructure in cities. And even more importantly, there has to be, political will for promoting cycling as a mode of transportation. I think that's very critical, that we need political champions who can drive the agenda and, they can take it forward. So overall, I'll say is that there is definitely an urgent need to have clear, well-designed cycling infrastructure, because there is, if I would say, very little right now, and that has definitely been a key barrier in terms of making people choose other modes of transportation than cycling. And just I will suggest some recommendations. If we've done this even previously when I was carrying out the study for cycling. I won't say these are out of the box solutions. These are some things that have to be done, because there is no silver bullet as such when it comes to infrastructure. government agencies and all the stakeholders will have to make the effort, and they'll have to have dedicated action and commitment and budgets to execute the infrastructure on ground. It's very critical, that we ensure that we are providing infrastructure, and it's very important that all the, road projects that are being taken up at city level, at the very stage of their appraisal, and at the very stage of appraisal of road designs, intersection designs, the master plan, city mobility plans. All these plans and projects are evaluated from the perspective of whether they are promoting creation of cycling tracks and cycling infrastructure or not. Then we need to ensure that the maintenance of these tracks is adequate. There has to be strict enforcement mechanism to ensure that these don't become dumping sites for waste or for parking lots for vehicles. There has to be the design and enforcement mechanism have to ensure that these are actually used as cycling infrastructure and for no other use. I talked about investments. I think there is definitely a need for dedicated budget that can, at whether it's at the city government or the state government level or coming from central government level, it's time that we have dedicated budgets for NMT infrastructure, and they should be, made mandatory requirement for cities, when they're accessing big kind of, budget supports from, say, state and central governments. They should be, asked and required to see how they are making provisions for NMT, and also setting aside investment allocation for creating NMT infrastructure. Then I think last and most importantly, what I feel is that there is definitely a huge need for capacity building. What we're seeing is that there is a growing awareness among cities around, cycling, walking, and having provisions for that. But there's definitely a room for a huge capacity building program for city officials to be able to translate, all of that what we are talking into actual road design and actual enforcement mechanism. And also the ability of cities to, run awareness campaigns, once they provide adequate infrastructure to promote, and highlight the benefits of cycling and attract citizens towards cycling. So that's really, from my end, my thoughts on the need for creating safe cycling infrastructure. I don't think there can be two debates or two arguments around. We don't have to. It's really about having a very dedicated, clear action plan, and all of us working together, in particular government leading this, because we're talking about public infrastructure, and government really front-ending that and ensuring that the momentum now, especially that we have gained because of COVID and the interest that has been generated around cycling, stays and is not lost because of a non-existence of cycling infrastructure in our cities. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Akshima, for sharing your views. And as you rightly pointed out about the infrastructure point of view, so definitely we will be, along with Dr. Thakur, having a separate session, basically talking on the infrastructure on the cycling sector, inviting the ministry people also into that. So soon we will be coming back to you on that as well. So now I would like to shift to another lady. We have Ms. Firoja Suresh, the Smart Commute Foundation, the bicycle mayor from Mumbai. So Ms. Firoja is the first bicycle mayor of Mumbai, a woman cycling enthusiast. She has pledged to make cycling a currency of health and new footprint for sustainable transportation. With the Smart Commute Foundation Cycle Chala City Bacha program, she has ignited a movement for adopting cycling as smart choice for commuting. To support her cause and complement her passion, she has appointed with 24 bicycle counselors ward-wise in Mumbai city. She has support from like-minded professionals and guided by a knowledgeable advisory committee of urban transport planners and architects to spread the culture of smart commuting in the city. Determined, passionate and die-hard enthusiast, Firoja is certain to place India on a global map of cycling country. So she will be today talking on the first-hand experience of cycling local solutions, Ms. Firoja Suresh. And you need to unmute.
Yes, Good evening, everyone. You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Firstly, I'd like to thank PhD CCI, Dr. Thakurji, and even Dr. Omkar Pawaji for giving me this opportunity. As my topic is first-hand experience, the first-hand experience comes from 8 years of my journey, been promoting cycling, dedication, commitment, and of course, passion. The last bit of local solution is, I would say, more towards an organic growth, because there was no set formula. When I started promoting cycling, all I knew because of my sales and marketing background that I had to do something, but that something was a big question mark. Not being from academia, I'm not an urban planner or transport planner. Did give me a little bit of a setback, that like if I need to promote cycling, what's the next step? But during the course of time, I guess met wonderful people who enriched my knowledge further, and that's how this entire plan. So in 2019, I was appointed as a bicycle mayor of Mumbai. This is a Dutch NGO who has a global leadership program called Bikes, with a clear mission of 50 by 30, which means 50% of all the commute trips have to be converted into cycling by 2030. And with that, we started a campaign in Mumbai city called Cycle Chala City Bacha. I guess I'm having a little difficulty going forward. So we all have a benchmark. So Amsterdam is a benchmark, but Amsterdam didn't become a cycling city. There were lot of issues, challenges which they have. Typically, what we have currently in all the cities, the behavior change, the willingness, the policy, the urban street, the guidelines, the road infrastructure, and of course the major thing which Akshima has repeatedly mentioned is the budget allocation. There is a problem, there is a solution. There has to be a willingness from both as a behavior change and from the policymakers. Mumbai has a density of 430 cars per kilometer. Now that's pretty much dense. Biggest figure for Mumbai for India. Prior to the pandemic, this was the situation. That means we had to get down the pollution by 44%. What was welcoming, and I think most of the panelists have mentioned, is the virus. The coronavirus definitely gave a boom, a bicycle boom, and so much so there's a shortage of bicycles currently. 35% increase in the cycle sales. And I guess as stakeholders, what lies right now with everybody on this panel is that how we need to move forward, build up a momentum, so that we are able to so this loss, we shouldn't lose the opportunity, which is now after so many years of promoting cycling. This is the best window which we have got. Everybody knows the benefit of cycling, and that's where I guess people have picked up bicycle, because there's no public transportation. It's the best way of social distancing. We need to act now. And Mumbai ranks the 97th position in the world map of the cycling city. We are the second largest exporters of cycles. I guess this is something which we need to all work towards to get ourselves at least in the top 30. Mumbai in the top 30 by 2030. As a foundation, we have pledged to increase ridership by 1 lakh by 2023. It's just 3 years, but yes, we are working towards it. What is the plan? 8 years I've been I have actually put my effort into promoting advocacy. Realize there has to be a way forward. There has to be a kind of a formula, and that's exactly what we see currently is as cyclists, we share the road, right, with pedestrian, motorized, and this is the basic chaos which we all live in. I'd just like to give you a modal share. This is the mode share. Each city has a mode share. We have a mode share of 51% walk and cycle. Out of that, 3% is of cycling. But most of the investments which comes from the authorities goes in that 2%. That means the sea link and the coastal roads are all car-centric development. The non-walk trips, which is a short commute of 1 to 3 kilometers. Now that's close to 22% in my city. That could be actually converted and the amount of carbon emission which we could save. Now, who cycles? Cycle as a as a vehicle. It's a very multi-dimensional. So there is recreation, there's fitness, there is commuting, there is touring. All of that constitutes into cycling. Now, what best works for each one of us? Some people just pick up cycling for fitness. There are some who actually commute or cycle to work. And there are these whole lot of invisible cyclists. Now they constitute, they cycle whether there is a problem of weather, pollution, safety, potholes. They are not concerned about that. They are doing their bit because that's their livelihood. The hard facts of Mumbai is we are a population of close to 24 million and half of them live in slums. What is the game changer? What are the projects which are game changer for each city? For us, definitely, in my experience of 8 years, the game changer would be to increase ridership. Now, how do you increase ridership? Because there is definitely this whole bit of behavior change. People, when you talk about cycling, first of all, it's considered the poor man's vehicle. So that's again one of the biggest hindrance when it comes to cycling. Then the AC environment. You have to come out of your car, AC car, and AC office, and all of that. So the easy low hanging would be for my city is to donate or new or old bicycles to spike up ridership. I know it's a very selfish thought, but this is the only way forward. If you can't spike up ridership by 2023, buy 1 lakh cycles, it's a very tough call. It's like you really we all are doing our bit. We are selling our bicycles. There's a boom of 20, 25, 30% of cycle sales, but this is definitely going to convert, when you say way of life, this definitely would spike up immediate ridership for Mumbai city. Now, this map is very interesting because the Swiggy, Zomato cyclists, we wanted to understand that how much do they commute in Mumbai city and what's the legit commute do they do? And close to a distance of 30 to 40 kilometers, that's a legit commute for my city. And they do it without any complaints, though there is a humidity problem and all of that. But they do not have any problems regarding infrastructure because Mumbai is full of potholes. The infrastructure could be really, really tough. But they do it because there's a need. We donated electric bicycles so that they could do more number of deliveries on bicycles. That's really very important to acknowledge them. This is the game changer plan for Mumbai city is that we are the first city globally to adopt the bicycle counselor program. We have 24 wards in Mumbai city. When we talk about any activity which is ground up, when we talk about capacity building, the programs which Akshima was mentioning, this is one of the capacity building program which we want to lead for Mumbai city. Each ward has a bicycle counselors. The ward counselors definitely are looking at behavior change because when we talk about cycling clubs, each city has a cycling club, but then what do? They are cycling the length and breadth of the cities, 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers. Would this make any city a way of life? What are we talking about? We are talking about one person doing 100 kilometers, or we are talking about 50 people doing 2 kilometers each, short distance. That's exactly what we are trying to achieve out here within the ward rides. We're trying to reach out to the local authorities. Being a bicycle mayor of Mumbai, for me to reach out to 20 million across Mumbai, it's a Herculean task. With this, definitely a game changer for us. We're the first one to adopt it. Reaching out to the authority becomes easier. So the local solutions, if we want cycle stands, if we are looking at cycle training program, this will definitely enable us. So we have fun engagement with the wards. So we had the Navratri rides all the 9 days. We put up the ward rides, so it's more fun, it's more engaging. Kids come out. That's very, very important for us. That the kids, the women, they should come out more along with us to cycle, because we're sharing the road. And then there's the concern of road safety. So what we guarantee when we do these ward rides is that you come along with us for 4 or 5 rides. Guarantee the 6th ride you will do it on your own. You will say, okay, fine. I mean, why didn't I pick up bicycle just to go to the market or just to run an errand for the house? So this is a very promising thing which we have put up for Mumbai City. Each bicycle counselor is committed towards the vision which we have put, making Mumbai the cycling capital of India by 2030. This is another game changer plan. We have a 36-kilometer cycle track along the pipeline, 41 entry exit to this particular track. It's a non-motorized track which covers the length and breadth of Mumbai. So when we talk about integrated planning for a smart moving Mumbai or any city in India, it just boils down to the software, the hardware, and organization governance. The software is all the programs, the cycling culture which we put up. The bicycle counselor program is part of that software. We have the Me Cycle Rider program, which talks about donating the old and new bicycles. We have the Cycle to Work program, which we have instant gratification, where we incentivize people who cycle to work in Mumbai City, and we have been doing this since 2014. Getting all the momentum and the critical mass towards building up a culture. Hardware, yes, hardware is about cycle stands, the visible hardware which you see on the road, the cycle track. But cycle track, I'm not very keen at this point of time when there is no critical mass to get in the cycle track immediately, because then the few cycle track which comes up in the smart cities or in my city, then it turns out to be a failed project. I mean, I'm not into that aspect that any cycle track is good, but just to paint a green, and then qualify that as a cycle track doesn't really work. Very important is the governance, the road safety and the policy and the budgets which goes for a cycle to build up a cycling city. I know since my journey, there's a proposed approach to when you are starting off as a cycling city. What are the easy low-hanging? Let's look at quick interventions. Putting up a public bike sharing, putting up a cycle training, then you spike up more ridership. You have an inclusivity plan of donating old and new bicycles. You need to also include the local authorities, that they need to invest in cycles and cycle stands for their field staff. So we have donated a few bicycles in our local ward offices. Again, a low-hanging but very visible is the cycle stands. When you look at livelihood bicycles, they look at parking their bicycles at a railing or a street furniture or electric pole. But then where are the visible cycle stands? And until unless we do not have all of that, just by having this boom of 30-35%, or just by selling bicycles, in the very, we all are in the space of 200% growth of cycle sales. Again, a low-hanging interventions are the pop-up bicycle lanes. There are a lot of community parks. Community parks are only for walking and jogging and walking. Why can't these parks double up as cycle parks after a certain amount of time? And that's what we're working with the bicycle counselors, that each park needs to double up as a cycle parking, so that even for people who want to learn cycling can use those community parks. Car-free days, at least once a month. We talk about corporate engagement programs, so that get as many business hub to inculcate the habit of cycling. Establish the stakeholders within the wards. Campaign. We do not have bicycle ambassador. Each campaigns which I see, polio to a fire to all of that, we have all of those campaigns. But why there is no campaign for cycling? Why is there no board? When you talk about helmets, the road safety. There is no visible campaigns. I quickly want to jump into this very important aspect is when we talk about cycling, do we talk about comprehensive network plan? Now that's the absolute missing component. Smart cities, yes, they do dwell upon all of this, but then this is the network which we need to build up, and we've given a clear mandate to the bicycle councillors to come up with routes within the ward, because we need to stitch it up eventually and present to the authorities. Until unless we do not do that, it's just a futile exercise just to get the momentum and just to build up critical mass without having to give actual data. Data is very, very key. Any authorities or any corporates when we reach out, the first thing which comes up is how many cyclists are there in your city. We rely on Strava. Strava has been very kind to give us data. So time and again we reach out to them and we get the data from them, and we know that there's a 30 lakhs kilometers cycling was recorded in Mumbai on Strava, 272% increase of cycling. But do we have an app, local app? It's good to imagine streets with proper planning, design, conducive for pedestrian and cycling. It's really nice, but where are the budgets? We have a vision for 2030 to, the third dimension is the pollution-free India. But the question here is that, is there any subsidies? I mean, I know for the fact that GST is also a problem which creates that hindrance for cycles and e-bike manufacturers. Cycle can transform cities and the way we commute. Are the policymakers utilizing the smart city NMT funds mindfully? I think Akshima did mention about this. The word mindfully is very, very important. Otherwise, it's just a checklist. Public bike sharing is a checklist. Smart city cycle track is just a checklist. Where are the programs which we run for the city, which is very, very important. Just by giving all of those infrastructure doesn't qualify to make that city into a cycling city. It's a holistic approach which we are talking about. So cycle is a sport, yes, but it definitely is a vehicle for transforming the city. That's my bit for Mumbai, because that's how I have organically grown in Mumbai city to understand the subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roja, and we can see the passion you have for the cycling industry. And I think like-minded people like you and the Chamber and AICMA and CFI, we should all work together and create that awareness. As you very rightly pointed out, there is no ambassador for this kind of activity. So I think we should really work on that, and we will definitely get back to you after discussing with Dr. Thakur on this part, and we'll work on this. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Partha Chaudhary, the President and CEO, Hero Electro. He has more than 30 years of professional career, mostly with automobile ancillaries and automobiles OEMs such as Asian Paints, MRF Tires, Birla Tires, Yamaha, LML, Hero. For the last 3 years, he has been passionately working with EV startup to set up business including Hero Electro. Was a part of the team as CEO that developed and introduced e-bikes for Hero 3 years ago, which today has become the market leader. Currently working into making a business case for e-bikes for commercial application. So today, Mr. Chaudhary would be mainly touching upon the faster adoption and manufacturing of premium and e-bicycles in India. Mr. Chaudhary, please.
Thank you, everyone. I mean, thank you, Chamber of Commerce, for having me here. And good afternoon to everyone. Yes, I have been very patiently and very passionately listening to all the speakers who are before me speaking. What I gather from everyone is that yes, bicycle is very important. We all understand that it is very important for various reasons. There are multiple metrics where we can say that bicycle is actually key to, maybe evolving our cities into a better city, making ourselves as better human beings with better health, maybe even more civilized and more, disciplined on road. There are multiple things that bicycle can do. But what I also get to understand that all that are not really happening. There is a huge push which is required, but despite that, there is no proactive adoption of bicycles for the core sector or core commuters, which indeed has the potential to actually transform this. Now, why is this so? If we actually look at it, I mean, if I may take some instance from my previous speaker, she has been very passionate about how to make people accept and adopt bicycling in Mumbai, and a host of promotional activities, a host of push activities she has been mentioning. Now, why is it required to push? And she's very right. She was not. I mean, all these probably are the order of the day, and you need it. But why do you need the push? And let us understand this, because when we talk about faster adoption, in fact, the government of India has been pretty serious about this faster adoption of, e-vehicles and many other areas, particularly in e-vehicle, all kinds of two-wheelers and four-wheelers, or even three-wheelers. The central of this fame or faster adoption of, and manufacturing of e-vehicles is proactive adoption. If the proactive adoption does not happen, then no matter how much push you do or how much push you give, it finally fails to succeed. Let's look at what has happened with FAME subsidy. Government of India has been giving, and various state governments have been giving for last 15 years, huge amount of subsidies to make e-vehicles a success. Save electric three-wheelers called e-rickshaws, which is for a very different set of reasons, not because of the subsidy or any other push. Again, that is a case of proactive adoption. Nothing actually could succeed on electric vehicle platform where we can say that this is indeed making some difference. For example, India sells around 1.7 million two-wheelers every month. 1.7 million IC engine two-wheelers. As against that is not even 12,000 electric two-wheelers which sell every month. So if I may, use an expression that in order to succeed, you need certain critical mass, certain critical percentage. But in order to fail also, you need certain critical percentage. This number is not even qualifying as to a failure. It is even below, lower than a failure that we are actually achieving. So why is it so? If we go a little deeper into the entire understanding, look at the other side of the story. While we are trying to push electric vehicles, we are trying to push bicycles, not literally, push adoption of bicycles. On the other side, the IC engine products like, the scooters and motorcycles, or maybe cars, there is some kind of a attempt to actually reduce their adoption, or we do not want them to sell the way they're selling so many. Not maybe in that sense, but yes, there are evils of those sales. So on one side, we are trying to push bicycles or push electric vehicles adoption. On the other side, there are vehicles or products which are being adopted proactively very fast. The reason why this is happening is probably we are not giving the right kind of incentive to the consumers to understand as to why they should be in their own interest come and adopt maybe either a bicycle or an electric bicycle for that matter, and use it in the most sensible manner. Look at this dilemma, or let's say this irony. Any electric vehicle, be it a car or a three-wheeler or a two-wheeler, is actually in a conventional way seen as a cheaper alternative, while it is not really cheap. A proper electric vehicle, which should be capable of delivering what the customer is used to or what he's seeking, will be at least 2.5 to 3 times more expensive than the IC engine counterpart of that vehicle. For example, if you want to create a car, let's say a good electric car, which is more or less mimicking the performance of an IC engine car, it will be almost 2.5 to 3 times more expensive than the IC engine car. Similarly, for a scooter, it is so. There are cheaper alternatives in electric scooters, and that is precisely the reason why all these FAME subsidies fail to actually take off. Because it is not, and I remember our second speaker, he actually mentioned that it is not the price which matters. It is the performance that matters, although that was in the context of Europe, but that is actually globally true. If a consumer doesn't get the threshold quality or threshold performance in the product that he is adopting, then even investment of even 1 rupee is not justifiable, because then the entire thing is getting waste. So unfortunately, we have been trying to promote, in order to promote electric vehicles, we have been trying to promote those vehicles which are either too expensive for the consumers to actually afford, or they're not good in quality, therefore they're failing to deliver what consumers actually seek from them in terms of their performance. Now, look at a two-wheeler scenario. A good electric scooter, despite all subsidies, and I don't want to name the brands, would cost the end user not less than 1.2 lakhs, 1.25 lakhs of rupees. So that becomes too expensive, and therefore there is no adoption. The same customer is running behind cost savings on a scooter or a motorcycle. Which motorcycle gives him more mileage or lesser fuel consumption is something at the top of his agenda. One of the famous ads in the country at one point in time was, the whole nation is obsessed about fuel efficiency. But same person, when he knows that the electric energy will save cost, does not go and buy that electric vehicle, because he knows while it may be saving cost in terms of energy consumption, but there'll be a host of issues starting from the quality of performance, the range anxiety, and host other things. While there is a product because the affordability of the customer at the price where he wants to buy, the sweet spot of that price is not the final price that these scooters can actually offer, because that is exceeding. And the sweet spot that he is willing to buy a two-wheeler, and in that sweet spot, there is a product which is available, which is not being actually focused by the government of India or maybe by anybody. Now, look at this scenario, that an electric bicycle, which actually is more expensive or proportionately more expensive than any other electric vehicles to its IC engine or to its other counterpart. For example, an electric scooter would cost you 2.5 times more than an IC engine vehicle, while an electric bicycle will cost maybe even 7 times more than a normal bicycle. A normal bicycle comes at a price point of 3,500, 4,000 rupees, and to convert that into electric would cost you maybe 30,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees, so 8-9 times more expensive. But the absolute price of that vehicle is so attractive that it can be actually made available for serving all these purposes, all these things that we have so far been talking about. If suppose there is a product which not only saves the cost, also takes care of the right kind of commuting need that a customer has, because we have already seen the number of commuters India has. There are almost 18 crore two-wheelers plying on Indian roads, almost 11 crore bicycles plying on Indian roads, and they're all there, and they're all 70-80% of them are actually being used for people who are commuting to work. Now, if these people are made to accept a product which is, you make a product available to them which they're proactively adopting, only then this faster adoption of manufacturing and adoption of electric vehicle will be successful. If it is not being proactively adopted, it will never be successful. And it is possible to make this happen by focusing on electric bicycle, which, first of all, electric bicycle is the largest selling electric vehicle globally. against any other electric vehicle, electric bicycle, the total number of electric bicycles which are plying globally on the road is far, far higher than any other electric vehicle. Number two, it squarely takes care of all the commuting requirements. What is preventing us from adopting this is maybe there are three things. One, we do not really have a manufacturing infrastructure for electric bicycles in India. Most of the electric bicycles basically electric vehicles lack this manufacturing infrastructure primarily in India, and the components are either sourced from China or some other countries, or those components are the child parts in those components are being sourced and then assembled here, and then it is used for the final vehicle. That is one part. The second is there is a lack of awareness and lack of excitement to that category. On one side, bicycle has a very high-end niche, lifestyle kind of an imagery, because as long as you use the bicycle for your fitness or your sporting reasons, this is seen as a high-end, this is seen as a very lifestyle kind of a product, and your social status goes up. But the moment the same person starts using that bicycle for commuting, his social status actually takes a hit, because then it is seen as if he's using something which is substandard. I mean, that bicycle imagery, which is a down market imagery, then it prevails. So if it is an electric bicycle, it can actually carry the high-end imagery, at the same time can take care of all the necessary requirements a commuter seeks when he is commuting on the road, even on a IC engine product. As against an IC engine scooter, in fact, an electric bicycle is capable of delivering everything, maybe certain things even more. For example, the quality, which is the biggest concern for people to come and adopt an electric two-wheeler, because there is a vehicle downtime, it breaks down more often, there is a battery charging requirement. All these are actually not existing in an electric bicycle, because at 30,000 rupees, you can make a reasonably good quality electric bicycle, while to make or meet that type of quality for an electric two-wheeler to reach, it will cost you maybe 1,25,000, 1,30,000 rupees after the FAME subsidy, while there is no subsidy on electric bicycles. Then the range anxiety that we talk about is what happens if the battery runs out of charge? How do you manage a scooter or a car or a motorcycle? That also does not exist in a bicycle, because electric bicycle is something which is also having a pedal. So there is a pedal assist. Electric bicycles can run on pedal assist, it can run on normal pedaling without any battery assist, or it can run with a throttle. So they have all the three modes. Therefore, there is no problem of one getting stuck on the road, and he can actually limp home back even if the battery charge runs out. Although that would rarely be a situation, because it is purely a mental agony, or this is a perception, because majority of the Indian commuters do not commute beyond 10 to 12 kilometers a day, particularly the city commuters. And the short distance commute is something, if we can address that, it will actually reduce the total number of IC engine vehicles engaged into short distance commute by almost, the total number of IC engine vehicles which ply on Indian roads will come down by almost 70% if we can address because 70% of the vehicles in intra-city commute is not more than 10 kilometers to 12 kilometers a day. And the third thing is an electric bicycle, which is, a very unique functional improvement. And if you see globally, what has happened in Europe, Europe already used to have a large number of commuters, of middle-class commuters using push bicycles, using regular bicycles for commuting to work. When electric bicycle came into being almost 10 years ago, this became a natural upgrade for those commuters, because this was a unique functional improvement. This is not normally people talk about form improvement, that this looks this kind and there is a small change in styling and look. Those are minor improvements, but the real improvement happens when the functional improvement happens. I'm giving you an example. Wheel was something which was probably invented 7,000 or 6,000 years ago, human beings invented wheel. Similarly, a bag. We invented a bag maybe again 5,000 years ago. People used to carry something even at that point in time. But when this wheel came to a bag, say around 70 years or 60 years ago, you created a bag, or 50 years ago, you created a suitcase with wheel, which is called a trolley. It completely changed the paradigm. This is an example of functional improvement, which means for traveling, for people to travel, managing the luggage became much easier and much simpler. Similarly, electric bicycle is a functional improvement from a normal push bicycle to an electric bicycle, and it gave enormous amount of liberty and flexibility to the rider. That benefit can be actually made very easily available to the Indian commuters, and it gives you look at certain. I mean, the electric bicycle can do almost everything which a scooter or a motorcycle can do in the similar manner. But there are many things which a scooter or a motorcycle, an IC engine scooter or motorcycle cannot do, which an electric bicycle actually does. For example, it can be charged at home instead of one going to the fuel station to fill gas. Now, as of now, people don't feel this as a pain. Going to a fuel station and filling gas is a common thing. We always do. But then the moment you get used to refueling it at home, this will start becoming a pain in your life. Exactly the way how home delivery has changed our habit. 10 years ago, there was a lot of perception against home delivery. We never used to consider this to be a great, mode of buying. But today, look at the way how things have changed. I mean, I can vouch for a lot of my friends will starve to death if the home delivery of food stops tomorrow. So this is how our habit changes. These are, the functional improvements which change our habit. Now, if we indeed want people to come and adopt proactively, because we can keep pushing that bicycle must take the center stage, bicycle must become very important. It has social benefits.
Really sorry to interrupt you. We are just short of time, so I request you if we can have the concluding remarks from you as well for your presentation.
One last sentence. So all we are saying is proactive adoption can be made possible on electric bicycle very easily, and I would submit before the Chamber of Commerce and the cycling body that allow this to be this vehicle for government's consideration for granting subsidies so that people are interested towards it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chaudhary, for sharing your views with us. And we look forward to have another detailed session with you on this. Specifically talking on the e-bikes, we can have a separate session. I believe there is a lot of scope in that. So we'll come back to you on that part. So now I would like to invite Mr. Avnish Gulati, the Director, Contartica Marketing Services Private Limited. Avnish is a marketer and entrepreneur and a full-time cyclist. He is the co-founder of Contartica Marketing Services Private Limited. He has over 12 years of rich marketing experience in internet and technology industries and has worked with tech giants like Cisco and Symantec in the past. In 2020, his marketing company has created the property called the Cycling Summit, which is the first ever summit in India for cycling that aims at getting cycling enthusiasts, celebrated athletes, coaches, influencers, health and nutrition experts, and partners like government, cycling federation, and brands together and make India a cycling nation. So I present to you Avnish Gulati.
Thank you so much, Naveenji. Mayank, I would request if you could give me the sharing rights, please.
Paramji, please do the needful.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
So firstly, thank you so much. I would really thank PhD for having me on the panel with such an esteemed jury, esteemed panelists here. So there are a lot of points actually which have been discussed here throughout, and if I take those points and talk about them, it will take one more session. But a few points before I even talk about the summit, I could just put in 2-3 things. For sure, I think Akshima was mentioning that cycling to work. So I think it's pretty much the new cool thing that has been happening. Like, for example, me and there are many more cyclists who are cycling to work as well. And even Partha mentioned. So I think one thing I really want to bring up here is that we really need to focus on the people, because this practically not more than 6 to 7 or a 10 kilometer drive that people have to their offices. We really need to focus on those people. And as a cyclist, if you're a regular cyclist, a 6 to 10 kilometers is not even it's not even a total kilometer journey for you to be stressed about. So it's very easy for people to really focus and start going to offices on their cycle. So just to let you know about the cycling summit, it's the first ever summit of its kind that's happening. You must have heard a lot about different tech giants who've been doing summits wherein they involve a lot of education. We need to spread awareness. There are a lot of demos that happen. There are a lot of product launches that happen. Something very similar that we want to take up in cycling, because we saw a bit of a gap when we started to cycle. We saw there are a lot of different fragmented groups that grow out every day, every morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., different multiple groups of maybe sometimes 100, and there are groups which are practically 1,000 on social media, and they meet regularly. But what max to max was happening is they used to go out, they used to cycle, click some photographs, maybe grab their yoga mats, sit and come back. There was practically not much of a learning happening, instead of just except the fact that they were riding about a 50, 100 and 200 kilometer every day. So that's what we practically thought. So it's not, cycling is just not about sport that we see. It's basically an expression of freedom, passion, zeal, and adventure. We actually saw this, as I mentioned, there's a growing cyclist community, but it's also fragmented in small groups, and they have very limited opportunities is what we were focusing on. They were, of course, looking at rising above the ordinary, and therefore we actually set a mission for ourselves, and we take the mission to be making cycling an India nation, making India a cycling nation. And how do we do that? We've introduced the first ever summit on cycling. We are associated with the CFI, and we also recently signed an MOU with the PhD Chamber of Commerce with you guys as our industry partner as well. So what we're trying to do is basically one of its kind platform, which involves cyclists. We're having celebrated athletes. It'll also involve coaches. We have influencers. We have the health and the nutrition experts. We've got cycling enthusiasts. And of course, we partnering with Federation, as I mentioned about CFI, we'll be partnering with a lot of brands for whom cycling basically matters the most. And the cycling summit is basically going to be a day-long event. We are planning to do it in Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. To start off with, it is going to be Delhi, wherein we start a ride from right the heart of the city, and we will have different sessions that we have curated with the. So I'll just take it. Basically, our goal is to get create a passionate community of passionate cyclists. We want to encourage a lot of learning. So it's basically LEAD is what we call it: learning, in engagement, and development. And of course, we need to encourage the cycling safety for the riders. That's we've been discussing right now a few minutes back, and we wish to elaborate. We wish to collaborate with some cycling for improving cycling infrastructure within the country. This is the community. We've got cyclist athletes, we've got trainers and coaches, we have the health and nutrition experts, we will have cycling tour operators, we'll have sports centers, we have cycle shops. Basically, the entire ecosystem is going to be there at the summit. We want to be involved with everyone. We have created our site. It's already there. We've got signups ready for people to come in. We have a major social media presence across Facebook, Instagram. We already have community responses. There are a lot of people who have started to show interest. They're happy something of this sort is happening, because practically they've never heard anything except few races and rides that happen every day. So basically, the day that we've decided, the event is going to have pro sessions where we have these very celebrated athletes. We'll have live interaction with them. It'll be a one-on-one sort of interaction between the audience and the cyclist. These are some sessions that we've thought of. This is basically a very thought leadership sessions that we're thinking of. We'll have workshops. So practically, we don't get one place wherein you can actually have practical or technical classes that, for example, I as a cyclist, I would love to know about my bicycle as a beginner, as a pro, as anything. These are the sessions that we've really defined for them. How to practically make your own bike, how to service a bike at home, how to have your cycling basics for beginners defined. We'll have a tech show. So basically what we're thinking of Cycling Summit is it's going to be an amalgamation of a regular exhibition, and it's going to be as glamorous as an auto tech show that we have basically. So we're going to have the best of the bikes, like we were discussing about e-bikes coming into picture. Why not have concept bikes shown to people practically? Why not show them what's coming up? Because it's today, everything is about future, everything is about technology, how things are evolving, how things are going to get better for cyclists. So we want to show the most amazing and innovative products and technology in cycling to the world. So we got cycling showcases. We would love to have certain demos, how things work. We have, everyone talks about AI, artificial intelligence. We talk about IoT. Why not actually show it in the cycling industry, show it to people? We got master classes. We'll have very simple, straight discussions around how to improve your knowledge and get fresh ideas, inspired. You should, if I'm a beginner, I would love to know a little more and upskill myself to be a professional cyclist, which I believe a lot of cyclists today on the road, when we talk about someone riding 100 or 150 or 200 kilometers, is absolutely the new normal. This is something that we've not heard of. People are practically going to Leh Ladakh from Delhi. It's something that has become a very normal thing. So I'm sure a lot of people would want to know about nutrition, when to start, which bike to get. Here we talk about how can they be an influencer. We must be seeing a lot of people are actually coming up, being an influencer in cycling. They talk about cycling, they share their rides, they share their stories, something that we really want to support and promote. We want people to explore their city like never before. Cycling is practically, of course, it's been taken to be one of the safest mode of transportation, as we were discussing a while ago in pandemic. But there's also a fact that there's practically no other better way to explore your city or practically a state or a country, maybe to elaborate. You just hop on a cycle and go explore. So we want to give a different sort of an experience. So we will be doing certain rides wherein there'll be people, cyclists, who will be exploring their cities as well. We wish to do cyclothon. Cyclothon, we wish to, so there's never been a concept of cycling races here. We want to collaborate. We're planning and we have spoken to a few brands to collaborate with them. We actually hold cyclothons. So with Cycling Federation of India as well, we've discussed why not get certain champions, the cycling national champions, race them together in a defined area, and we'll have crowd seeing them, crowd cheering them. So it's absolutely going to be a new sort of an experience which has never been there before. And of course, under the UCI guidelines, something that we will practically be working for. Okay, so this is something absolutely new. We've heard about people doing the best in cycling. We've heard people giving their efforts. We have our panelists here who've been practically doing all the efforts for the past 8 years, 9 years, and everyone's been sharing their stories. Why not felicitate people? Why not actually felicitate people who've been doing so much for cycling? So we also introduced the first ever cycling awards in the country, where we will have certain categories, not just for the professionals, but also for the beginners. There are a lot of people who are wanting to do a lot in the community, and we want to felicitate them. So it's going to be one of a kind. We want to do product launches, get some brands, get the best of the cycles out there. People want to know what's coming up next. This is a bit about the event, and we practically, as Contartica company, we're happy to be associated with the CFI and PhD, and we like to practically get people cycling. We like to create a sort of an environment that wherein people actually come up, they engage with their peers, they we spread awareness, we get people on the road. Most importantly, it's about everything. It's about getting helping pollution levels go down. It's about getting fit. It's getting smarter basically. And I think India, we've been discussing Europe, we've been discussing other countries, but I think India has a major potential for growth. The number of cyclists and the kind of cyclists that we're having these days, I think they have the potential to be world champions. So I think together we should make sure to get these people out, to motivate them and make sure that we have India at the highest level with a lot of more goals. Thank you so much. Thanks, Atan.
Thank you, Avnish. And we assure you on behalf of PhD CCI that we will be working very closely with you on the Cycling Summit and will try to make it a grand success. Thank you very much, Avnish. So now, friends, I would like to invite Mr. Savi Bedi, the founder for the Cycle of Inspiration. Mr. Savi Bedi founded the unique concept, Cycle of Inspiration. It's to inspire, to be passionate about the prosperity of the planet and people. He is making CEOs to resolve to commute by bicycle to work. He developed the corporate training program on cycles to think out of the box. So, Mr. Savi Bedi, please.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Sir.
Hello, am I audible?
I think your camera is off now.
Oh.
We can hear you, but I think, yeah, now we can see you also.
All right. Yes, great. So good evening, everyone. And I would like to congratulate PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry along with ECMA and CFI for organizing this beautiful global cycling conclave and providing me this opportunity to be among esteemed panelists and share my point of view. I would like to start actually with one of the previous panelists was saying, Mr. Chaudhary, that cycling has a potential to not only transform cities as better cities, but it can also transform human beings as better human beings. And I fully advocate that. So I've been advocating cycling for past 7 years. And I believe that cycling is not only for physical fitness, but it can actually help you lead a successful life. Now, success could be subjective. But what I have gathered with all the interviews, research, and readings, that to be successful, you have to work on 4 parameters simultaneously. You have to be physically fit, mentally alert, intellectually sharp, and spiritually awakened to be successful in life. And this is exactly what Cycle of Inspiration is working upon. We all know the fact about cycling. It can make us physically fit, no doubt about it. But coming on to the mental fitness, it's equally important. There are so many studies and research which has proved the fact, back this claim that cycling can make you mentally alert. There's a study which shows, it was done a few months back, which shows that cycling can 30 to 40 minutes of a cycling every single day can actually stimulate your brain in such a way as drinking a cup of a coffee, right? Cycling actually promotes a lot of hormones, all these happy chemicals, which we say endorphins, dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, pump into your brain to make you happy. And to back up this fact, if you pick up the list of the countries, all the happiest nations in the world, one thing common between them, they're all cycling nations, right? And coming to the spiritual fact, now, I would like to quote a phrase from Gurbani, which says, Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tarat Mahat, which means in English, air is regarded as a guru and Pavan Pita, air is regarded as a father. Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tarat Mahat. Air is regarded as a guru, water as a father, and earth as dear mother. 3 most important people are in our life. This is how we regard air, water, and earth. And cycling is one of the convenient way to fulfill all these parameters, to make you physically fit, mentally alert, intellectually sharp, and spiritually awakened, contribute towards environment also. Now, coming into the fact of Cycle of Inspiration, this is exactly what we do. We promote, we invite CEOs of various firms, startups, and entrepreneurship houses and ask them to cycle with us, and we interview them, their success stories, but while cycling. And we have a lot of excuses before they come up that they haven't cycled up for way long, or they don't have that much of a stamina. And to cover that up, we do it in all e-cycles. So that's a great part to it. And along covering their success story, we video shoot it. So it's not only the people, their colleagues or people following them who get benefit with their success story, but it's actually all other lot of people who watch these videos, and we are reaching a great height. If you go to a YouTube channel, Cycle of Inspiration, or a Facebook page, there are so many people who are following these videos and sending us messages that we have got inspired by your videos and we are actually started cycling. So our prime objective is not to promote cycling only for leisure or sports, but actually to start commuting by cycle. And with this session, all these CEOs or all these celebrated entrepreneurs and leaders take a resolve to commute by cycle at least once a week, and they are actually doing it. Furthermore, am I audible? Yeah. So furthermore, it's not only about creating awareness of cycling, but it's also about inspiring people to be creatively active, to form something original. So we have given a new definition to CEO, which we say cycle, explore, originate. That's how you're called as a real CEO. I repeat, cycle, explore, originate. And this is what we are promoting to the next level. And with the e-bikes, it's changing. They are commuting. Now, when a leader is commuting to your office in a cycle, on a cycle, your followers, your colleagues automatically going to commute to office on a cycle, and it's a game changing. So if we can have cycle tourism, which I was been doing for past few years, if we can have cycle as a sport, why could not we have these talks, these inspiring sessions on cycling, which is loved by people so much now. Which is loved by people so much now. So cycling is a next level what we are taking to. So we don't want to keep it towards sports or only towards the community engagement, but we want to make it as a perfect mode of commute possible, which is actually happening. So this is what Cycle of Inspiration about in short, and we are actually supported by Lead the Green Change campaign, which is promoted by European Union delegation to India. So that's another plus point that e-cycles are being promoted. And I would highly recommend to go and watch some videos out, what people are saying, how they're taking a resolve to cycle to work, and they're inspiring success stories, which is very important. They themselves say that they are leaving their BMWs to come and cycle to work now. Thank you. That's what I have to submit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sevi Bedi, and the passion you have for it. I think a lot of people are now getting into this, and we really need to promote it so that everybody gets into this frame of mind. So thank you very much once again for sparing your time and sharing your views with us.
My pleasure.
So friends, as we always say that we keep the best for the last. So I have one of my very dear friend, Mr. H.S. Bedi, the director from P.S. Bedi and Company. So before I invite him to talk, we have a small video which I would like to play so that you can get an idea that what he has been doing in this sector. So Mayank, can you play the video, please?
Actually, I've never cycled in my life, except when I was a kid. For my current training, I am cycling about 400 kilometers per week. It is challenging at my age, but I can surely do it. Good for Life is a unique fundraising event to raise funds for active prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of needy patients from all age groups, all races, ethnicities, and sexes across our country. You ought to sponsor a kilometer. Maybe cyclists stretch with the challenge. Sponsor a checkup, an awareness event, or just take it. These patients deserve a shorter life, pretty much like you and me.
So I request Mr. H.S. Bedi to kindly share his views with us.
Thank you, Naveen. And thank you, Sanjay ji, for giving me this opportunity on this PhD platform. Leader at the talk and the, whatever they've expressed, I am just a novice and an amateur. I can only tell you that I am a product of all the actions and everything that you have done till now. And you have made a cyclist out of an amateur like me. I'm 64 years old, and 10 months ago, I went through an experience of a colleague of mine who went through cancer, and while sitting there, I decided patients, and I decided that I'll cycle. So I've taken upon myself to cycle 2,800 kilometers, which is the same distance as Delhi to Kanyakumari. But I'll be cycling all through Rajasthan, the state of Rajasthan. The intention and the the thought behind this was, of course, cycling as, it brings in a lot of fitness. It is poor man's bicycle, vehicle, etc. But I thought it would be a great opportunity to build on oneness of our country. Guru Nanak, and he propounded the concept of oneness, and that which is very strongly brought into me since my early. So the whole concept of doing this cyclothon was to bring oneness and give the opportunity to these cancer patients. So the plan is to start on the 64. I'll be flagging off from Gurdwara Rakabganj on the 17th. We've been target of collecting 1.5 crores of rupees, out of which 85 lakhs have already been received in the bank of the Cancer Foundation. So our balance of just about 65 left. I start cycling. I will be doing this 2,800 kilometers in 14 days, which will be 200 kilometers per day, which will be equivalent of more than running a marathon every day. So I'll be actually running a marathon back to back for 14 days. It will be an endurance test. Onkar Singh ji mentioned about this ride that has taken place from Leh. Colonel Vishal Ehlawat, the gentleman who did this Leh to Manali rather, that journey of 473 kilometers in 31 hours. He's probably going to ride along with me. So this is what the journey is. I would only suggest to you all that while you are promoting cycling as a sport, as whatever you're doing, I think cycling for me has connected me to people that were unknown to me. Thinking of people at the bottom of the pyramid, where the cars and the buses push you off the road. And the other end of the spectrum is when Onkar Singh ji mentioned that you have these cars and cyclists, motorcyclists coming down, pushing you off the road to only ask a question. In any case, it's been a fun journey. And I would like to thank all of you for all that you are doing for bringing cycling into the mainstream society's use and improving the environment and the sustainability. And finally, I'll urge all of you, especially associated or contribute to any of your project. I'd be very happy to do that. I'm only an amateur. You've got to remember that. I'm looking forward to all of you going on to the Grit for Life. It's called Grit for Life because the cancer patients truly need to have total grit to be able to pass through their pain and agony. And I am going to do this ultra endurance for them. Do visit that site. Do become a part of that journey. And I'll be very happy to see how it ends. And I'm sure it's going to be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vicky Bedi, for the noble cause which you are doing. I think we are all together with you on that part. And once again, thank you for sparing your time and being with us today. So as we have already crossed our time, I would not take much of your time. I would request Dr. K.B. Thakurji to give closing remarks and propose a word of thanks.
Okay, good evening, friends, again. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As Mr. Said has said, he has done a great job for navigating the whole, the conclave, and we have exceeded the time. So I will be as briefest as possible because you have already heard, the who said what, and based on the convergence of our views, we are going to take it forward. So I'm going to conclude it as fast as possible. So in this conclave, Mr. Agrawal, President PhD CC, observed cycling as a necessity and need to promote it. and extended his support through the PSDCC platform, which is repeated over and again by Mr. Seth. Mr. Pawa, President ACMA, provided insight of bicycle value chain and suggested five-fold actions. Mr. Bushell gave global state of the cycling and suggested for improvement in quality and outlook of the Indian bicycle industry. Sri Onkar Singh, chairman of CFI, he shared great achievements of Indian sports in cycling, and he sought everybody's assistance to promote cycling as a sports in India, and he also highlighted there is a lot of potential in that particular area. Akshima, my friend Akshima, suggested for desired political will, developing that the political will through the dialogue, and for committed budget for cycling infrastructure and building the cycling infrastructure as per existing IRC codes and guidelines, and sustain operation and maintenance requirements. Ms. Firoza, as usual, introduced to us to all local cycling problems vis-a-vis solutions very interestingly with facts and figures. Mr. Partha appealed for proactive adoption of e-bicycle, including the extension of incentives by the government, and suggested strategies to that effect. Mr. Gulati highlighted cyclothon workshops, cycle the demos, master classes, city exploration, cycling awards, etc., as a part of his venture, Contartica. Mr. Sevi Bedi shared his experiences in motivating people towards cycling and also introduced Cycle Explore Originate. Mr. Bedi informed that he travels 28 kilometers per day on cycling, which is very exciting, and we congratulate him for setting the example and engaging in creating oneness through cycling. And we also give him all the best for his cycling plan of 2,800 kilometers to be covered in 14 days through cycling. And he also said that he developed a great network through the cycling. So that is another advantage he highlighted by his own experience. So the last but not the least, I congratulate Mr. Seth also for conducting this whole conclave in a very meticulous manner. Thank you so much, Mr. Seth.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thakur. And thank you all the panelists for sparing your time. It was almost 2.5 hours we have been talking, and I think we can go on and on with this of passion I can see with all of you. And we definitely, as Dr. Thakur also mentioned, we'll get back to you with specific agendas now, that we can have separate sessions on different aspects into this. And then as Avnish is working on the cycling summit, we look forward to have all of you in a grand way in that cycling summit. So thank you once again for sparing your time and being with us, and look forward to have more interactions with you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sethi, can I come for a while, please?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bedi, it's a great venture with what you are planning to have, and we are fully support. We will fully support this. Through our state associations, wherever you pass through there, all these states, our state cycling associations will definitely help you out to conduct your tour up to Kanyakumari. We'll be a part of that, and we'll love to share all the journey, and CFI is fully part of that. Thank you so much.
Onkar Singh ji, just for your information, I met Manjeet day before yesterday, and I am going to seek an appointment with you. I'll come and meet you on this.
Thank you so much. We'll surely meet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Firoza ji, for being with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Partha Chaudhary, Onkar ji, Avnish, Dr. Thakur. Bedi Saab, thank you very much. Look forward to meet you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Take care.
Thank you.